Varying views then on what happened in that game between Tottenham and Liverpool as Spurs went on to win it late on, thanks to that Joel Matip own goal, but so much centring on the goal that wasn't given, which would have put Liverpool in the lead at that stage. Liverpool released a statement yesterday evening in response to what the PGMOL referred to as a significant human error, which saw Diaz's goal ruled out for offside as he struck, which should have been, as I say, Liverpool's opener. The club in a statement said that they acknowledged the omission of the PGMOL's failures last night. It is clear that the current application of the laws of the game did not occur, resulting in sporting integrity being undermined. They went on to say, we will explore the range of options available given the clear need for escalation and resolution. Obviously, that last little line there, it's a bit vague. We don't quite know what that means. I know I was with Cass yesterday, a good mate of yours, Andy, Tony Cascarino, and he was slightly tongue-in-cheek, but suggesting maybe the game should be replayed to take it back to that. And he was even saying, take it back to that moment, just before, you know, you can have the red card of Curtis Jones. That's a subjective thing. You can't change that. No. But take it back to around the half an hour mark. I don't know if that is what Liverpool are suggesting, to have the game replayed as an option. I'm not sure that can actually happen.
Logistically, it would be a nightmare, wouldn't it, if we started doing that on anything more than a you know, if it became not frequent, but if it happened a few times, it would be. Well, I mean, there'd be a game a week. We'd say we have to replay that. Yeah, so, but again, I understand. There's that genuine feeling that the game could have been very, very different. By the way, I was there, Nat, working at the game. What a terrific game of football! Yeah, it's the best one I've seen this season. I thought both teams showed exactly what they're all about. And I really, really enjoyed the game. It was just a shame now that we're talking about that rather than a lot of the quality that we saw. Yeah, true. However, you've got to talk about it. You've got to discuss it. Look, ever since VAR arrived on these shores, I've always been an advocate. I've always been someone that I think it will improve the game. I said to you just before we come on here this morning, I don't want to see a Champions League final or World Cup final, any game won with a goal that shouldn't have been allowed. A goal that where there was a blatant infringement of the rules. And
or like the Diaz situation, a goal that should have been given but wasn't.
Correct. Yeah. Right. So let's let's make that perfectly clear. I was always and have been very much for it. I am starting to worry now about where it is all travelling, the direction that it's all going in. Clearly that at the weekend is not good enough on factual decisions. If we can't get factual decisions correct, and it's the logistics of the way that they looked at that goal, to tell us afterwards that there's a miscommunication between the on-field officials and Stockley Park is just not acceptable. That's not good enough. I think that Howard Webb is absolutely right to remove those individuals, not sack them, but they got to come out the firing line. If you want to find excellence in anything, then you've got to push hard to get that. And I'm afraid people have got to realise this is high stakes, high pressure, real intense sport at the top level, and we can't afford to have that sort of situation occur. What we saw at the weekend, it is simply not good enough. There's too much money being spent on our football nowadays. People, rightly or wrongly, are spending millions of pounds every weekend gambling on matches that they think that all of a sudden now people are being cheated that way, that there are careers on the line when managers don't win matches. There are players' careers are at stake because they keep losing, and it's too much on it now. It's too much riding on these sort of calls to get them wrong. And I think that we are now at the point where you've got to have an ex-player in this VAR suite. Ex-players or people that have played the game, managers, you're programmed that to try and find ways around bending the rules. Okay, right. You are programmed to do that. So by that, what I mean is you're marking someone in the box, right? You're grabbing his shirt. You know you're not allowed to do it, but you're doing it because you don't want that guy to get a run on you. Right. Just as he's about to jump to head the ball, you give him a little nudge in the back. And it's a cute little nudge. Sometimes it can be a blatant nudge. Whatever, but you are always playing to try and impede perhaps your opponent and get away with it. At the moment, there are things happening in matches. When I saw that Onana one at the start of the season at Old Trafford against Wolves. When I saw that, I saw a goalie come out with his hands. They were 3 foot apart. What goalie comes out to catch a ball with his hands where you could drive a bus between his arms? right? Goalies don't come out to catch balls like that. They just don't. Now, a referee's not looking at that. As soon as I saw that, I said to myself, he's not coming to catch the ball. He's coming to splatter whatever's in front of him to try and disturb it, to prevent someone else from potentially scoring a goal. Now, the little things that I think ex-players, ex-managers would spot, I think would help enormously what's going on at Stockley Park. I really, really do. A voice that is seeing something slightly different to what they're looking at, and it can make all the difference. I'm not saying it'll be foolproof, but I do think it would make the difference. And people have got to get over this. Oh, well, because an ex-player that's played for this club, that club, and that means he can't work for that game, and that game. Really? Come on.
Well, if you have enough players doing it, then you might actually be able to find enough to do that. Well, in that sense,
there are a lot of people out there that I think could lend their expertise and could absolutely help. Now, it wouldn't have helped the Luis Diaz one, because that is just a complete calamitous cock up, and that is something that they've just going to have to accept and front up. And I'm intrigued to know how Howard Webb is going to present that one to the football public, and the reasons why it didn't work.
Yeah, well, as we know, they know it was a significant human error, so they have in that sense already suggested why it went wrong. But to hear the audio would be fascinating for that moment. And like we mentioned earlier on, how not one person in that VAR room didn't think to say, I don't understand why they're not setting up for the kickoff rather than the free kick from the offside that was given. Far too much of a delay. No one. It seems as though they weren't paying attention. Clearly,
in football, when we bring in new technology into football or something, it always seems to be complex and with issues. And it's going to get better. It's going to take time. I watched a bit of the rugby last night, and again I saw the TMO guys talking to the referee, and it all seemed very straightforward and very above board and quite. Everyone was in control. Everyone knew exactly what was going on. Referee explaining to player exactly why he's given the penalty and what's gone on. Everyone then just gets on with the game. Instead of that, in football, we got Stockley Park, which is like Fort Knox. You can't get anywhere near it. And we've got you walk as a player for years. You used to walk down the tunnel after a game when felt like you're on the receiving end. Doors shut. You can't get near the refs. They don't want to say why. Why has it got to be like that? Why can't it be a lot more transparent? And it just would help enormously if it was. It really would. So it wasn't acceptable what went on at the weekend, and we can't have this for much longer. He's now starting to I think drain everybody's energy levels with those that even like myself that were supporting VAR. You're now finding everyone's getting fed up with it.
Well, it's just getting hard to defend it, isn't it? And let's remember, it's not the technology, it is the implementation of the laws that is the biggest problem. Although the incident on Saturday wasn't even that. It was just a complete misinterpretation of what happened on the field. And you have to ask questions of, well, what were they doing in that VAR room to not be aware of what they should have been looking at?
Exactly.
We want to hear from you this morning about this incident, but also just in general, are you in favour of what Andy's suggesting? Should players now be brought into the VAR room to maybe give that understanding of what it's like to be a player in these situations, the momentum a player might have in an incident, for example, all these kind of little extras that a player might add that a referee wouldn't quite be aware of. Do you think we should be pausing VAR? Do we need to pull it completely? Let us know. You can give us a call, 03 717 223344. You can send us a text to 81089 as well.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.